Good morning, children. Welcome to English class. Children, in our last session, we have discussed half of the lesson Birbal and the cooking pot. The lesson is a skit or a play. The first scene is in the palace balcony of the Emperor Akbar. One day in the morning, Emperor Akbar and Birbal are walking up and down in the balcony. Then Akbar said to Birbal that I have heard about the water in the river that is near to the palace is very cold. Is it true? Then Birbal said, Yes, Your Majesty. Then Akbar said that, now, is it possible for a man to stand in the water at night in this river? Then Birbal said, Certainly, Your Majesty. Then Akbar said that, Is it possible to a man to stand in the water for the whole night? Would he die? Then Birbal said, Your Majesty, certainly. No ordinary man can survive in this cold. Then Akbar thoughtfully, he stroking his chin, he was thinking and said to Birbal that, here I got a chance to test the strength of the common man in my kingdom. Birbal listened to Akbar. Then King Emperor whispered in the ears of the Birbal. Birbal was surprised by listening to that. Then he nodded his head. So that is about scene 1. Now next, the same day in the afternoon, scene 2 is in the town, in the busy street of the town. A drummer beats his drum loudly and people all gathered there around the drummer to listen to the announcement. So the drummer said loudly that, Listen, the great Emperor Akbar a reward. So he said about he gave the information about the reward. Who is going to get the reward? So here the information is that here, anyone who can stand the whole night in the river that is near the palace, then he is going to be richly rewarded. Now the people, they listened to the announcement and they were talking excitedly that it's impossible to stand in the middle of the water for the whole night. It is so risky. There is no chance we can die. But here a poor washerman listened to the announcement. Then he says to his wife that this is a good chance. I'll do that. I'll stand in the river water so that I can get the reward, and rest of our life we can live happily. But wife says, no. If you stand here in the water, you may die because of the cold. So I won't permit you to do that. But what Sherman says to convinces his wife that don't worry, nothing will happen to me. After all, I'll wash the clothes in this cold water only. So no problem for me. This is scene 2. Now scene 3 is at night. Now at night, the washermen stand in the middle of the river. Now the reflection of the light from the palace falls in the river. The people who work in the palace, they come out and look at him, shake their heads and go away. So they were discussing like, the poor man, he will die before the night completes, he may die. So one of the persons said that it's very foolish thing to do. So we all do pray. We pray to God to save him, to save his life. So that is scene 3. Now scene 4 is the next morning. Here the next morning, the washerman is alive. He comes out of the river. People shouted with lots of happiness and they congratulate the washerman. Then they says that, thank God, he is alive. He is so lucky that he is alive and going to receive a reward from the king. Wife also, she feels very happy and with relief she says, Oh, I was so worried about you. And the child says, and the son of the washerman says that, Father, you are so great. Now, will the emperor will reward you? Then washerman says that, yes, of course. Didn't I pass the test? So he feels that he had passed the test which was conducted by the Emperor Akbar. So that is scene 4. Next scene 5. Now scene 5 is at the Akbar's court. The washerman with his family, washerman with his wife and son, he visits the court of Emperor Akbar. There, Akbar, he sat in his seat and Birbal was near to the Akbar. The courtiers and the guards, everyone are there in their place. Now the washerman enters the court with his family. Then Akbar says that I feel very happy by seeing you, young man. You have proved your strength and come and take your reward. A man comes with a tray full of coins, as now this is a time when Akbar is going to give reward to the washerman. A courtier says that, Your Majesty, the man doesn't deserve your reward because the light from the palace has fallen in the river that makes the water warm. So he stood in the warm water, not in the cold water. So he doesn't deserve the reward. Even Akbar also thought, yes, whatever you said is correct. And he says that now you doesn't deserve to take reward, so you're not going to get any reward. So the washerman went back to his home with sad. And here the jealous courtier was feeling very happy. He was smiling wickedly. But Birbal doesn't like all these. He becomes so angry. He doesn't like the judgment of the king. So that is about scene 5. Now next what happened in today's session we will discuss. Scene 6. The next day at Akbar's court, Birbal's seat is empty. Akbar, this is the first time Birbal is late for the court. Messenger, go and find out the reason for his absence. The messenger bows and goes away. He returns in a while. Now on the day Birbal becomes very angry on the courtier, but he won't say anything. The other day, scene 6 is the next day. Next day, Akbar is at court, but Birbal is absent. His seat is empty. Then Akbar says that in the court that this is the first time Birbal was absent, or this is the first time Birbal was late to the court. Now what had happened to him? So he informs the messenger to go his home and find the reason for his absence. Messenger will bow to the king, and he went to the Birbal's house, and within a while he returned back. Now we'll see what the message was. Here messenger says, Your Majesty, the minister is in his house. He says he is cooking his food and it will take a long time to do so. Akbar angrily, What nonsense! How can food take so long to cook? I shall go and see for myself. Then the messenger brought a message from the Birbal that, Your Majesty, the minister is at home only. He is cooking the food. So to cook the food, it takes a lot of time. So it takes a long time to cook the food. So he want to cook the food, eat it, then he will come to the court. Now Akbar become very angry by listening to the messenger, and he says that what nonsense is it? What had happened? Why it takes so long time to cook the food? Now I'll go to his house and I'll inquire what is that? What is the reason? Then the emperor gets up and walks quickly, followed by some courtiers and guards. Now the emperor gets up and he walks quickly to see that why it takes long time for cooking. So he left the place. He moves towards the Birbal's house, and here the remaining courtiers and guards also followed the king. That is scene 6. Now in scene 7, Birbal is sitting near a fire on the ground. Far above it, on a branch of a tree, is a cooking pot. As the emperor approaches, Birbal rises and bows to him. Next, Akbar. Birbal, what a foolish thing to do. How can this fire warm your cooking pot? Then Birbal says, with a twinkle in his eyes, In the same way, Your Majesty, as the light from your palace had made the water of the river warm. Akbar laughs as he understands what Birbal is trying to say. Now Akbar becomes very angry with the message. So he gets up and walks towards the Birbal's house to see what is going on at his house. Now Birbal When Akbar reached the home of the Birbal, Birbal is sitting near the fire on the ground and he tied the pot onto the branch of a tree. So he put all the food items in the pot and he tied it to the branch, and on the ground he lit the fire. Now, by seeing that, Akbar says that, Birbal, what is that foolish thing you are doing? So how can this fire warms your pot which is tied to the branch? Then Birbal, with a twinkle in his eyes, replied that, in the same way, your majesty, as the lights from the palace have warmed the water of the river, in the same way, here the fire on the ground will warm the pot which is tied to the branch. Now, by listening to the reply of the Birbal, Akbar understood what he was trying to say, so he laughed. Then, scene 8. The next day, the washerman and his family are present at Akbar's court. Akbar hands the tray of coins to Birbal, who gives it to the washerman. People cheer and clap. The washerman smiles and bows before the emperor. Now, Akbar has understood what Birbal is trying to say. Then, the next day, scene 8. The next day, the washerman and his family is at the Akbar's court. Now, Akbar hand over the tray of coins to the Birbal, so that Birbal gave the tray to the washerman. Now Akbar is happy, Birbal is happy, the washerman is very, very happy, and he bows before the emperor, and all the people in the court, they feel very happy and they'll clap. So that is about the lesson Birbal and the cooking pot. Hope you all have understood the lesson well, children. Now with this, we'll close today's session. Coming to today's homework, read lesson 8, Birbal and the cooking pot. Okay, children? Okay, that's it for today. See you in the next session. Bye, children.